So the hexagon rainbow is a symbol of non-discrimination, of freedom, of your identity. And basically it's anything against any sort of stigma or discrimination against gender identity and sexual discrimination. I think it's a very important issue today, and we find all over the world this issue is becoming more relevant to a lot of people, and clearly it's one of the priorities of the European Union to insist on this, to allow people to find their own identity. That's why today we have a special guest to discuss about this, find your identity. Our special guest is Nam, and I want to give him the floor. Welcome.
Freedom, equality, safety, and the desire to be recognized are the things that always be in my mind, and I hope to be able to help my LGBT community.
So welcome here. We're very pleased to have you here. You know that you have been active in the LGBT community for some time. I think it's important for us also to share with you, to hear from you. I mean, what you're feeling about your sentiment.
Hello, and I'm very honored to be here, and I think I have it easier than most of my friends in the LGBT community.
We all know that sometimes it's difficult, not everybody is so at peace with declaring sexual identity, which is something we should not be, because actually everybody should be free to be what they are. But was it difficult for you to make this choice, to share with your family, with your friends, or was it more natural or normal?
It was hard for a normal queer person. When you come out, there's a lot at stake, right? You're afraid of losing your family. It's a big deal. You're losing your family, or sometimes you lose your job. For me, for example, I came out last year when I'm 32. Luckily, my parents accepted me and loved me wholeheartedly. But it was hard. It was hard for someone like me who is, financially stable, have a career. I am secure, but still it's very hard. It took me 32 years. So I could imagine how hard it would be for someone who is, financially unstable. So they are the real heroes in their own lives. So basically, coming out is a decision that when it's not an option, I understand. So yeah, there's a lot as a society we have to work on, and as a queer person you have to work.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's why also in the European Union we believe that it's very important to be clear about this, to show this nice rainbow flag, and to show the support, because of course, as you said, here it's relatively you were lucky and nothing bad happened, but in certain countries you risk your life because you could be put to jail, even death penalty on this thing, which is unbelievable. But it's important because I think it's a matter also of time. There will be development all over the world. If you think many years ago it was different, there were more discrimination everywhere, and slowly things changed. For instance, in the European Union, we had the first event was in 1989, I think in Denmark, where there was these civil marriages in the same sex. And then 2001, the first time the Netherlands accepted to have same-sex marriages, so officially. And now we have 16 more countries that do the same. So I think it's a process. It's a process, but we want to be sure that everybody's free to be what they are, receiving any sort of discrimination for that. But you say that it's difficult because I guess when you were a kid, you felt that there was something, right? I mean, when you were a kid, maybe you felt that other people maybe would laugh at you or experience something like that a little bit, or not really, or what was your experience?
Of course, all kind of bullies and all kind of insecurities, ridiculous, and after coming out to my parents, I finally have the strength and resource to actually address my mental health issues. Like the self-esteem. For example, you spend years of your life trying to get approval from people, trying to prove that you are normal, that you are lovable. I don't have to. You look at me, I'm cute. But still, I have this need to prove myself, to show people that I am worthy of love. So for people who, coming from different backgrounds and hardship, poverty, undereducated. And I don't want me being here, being a gay person is a privilege.
Exactly. Should be normal.
Yeah, it is. So when I came out, it's easier for her to accept because she already did the homework for years. Well, to be honest, I put on lipstick when I was 5, so you have time to come to terms with that. But even though she is not fully understand what being a gay person means, but the love overcame that. So if the older generation, they lack of knowledge, they lack of information, and when they want to, research, they want to learn about what is LGBT means, they don't have the resource. Us, younger generation, we have easier access to, resources, NGOs, books, films, social media. Our parents, our older generation, they lack of that. So I think that education should be focusing on not just the young, but also the older generation to, narrow down the gap between generations.
Also in Europe, we have a lot of work on education because we think it's important for future generations. So many countries they start when they're kids to show about the issue, to share with them, to understand also that they are free, everybody's free to do what they want, to declare themselves. We are trying to do our best. The Commission has this policy, or really has the ambition to all the European Union to be a completely LGBT-free area. You can declare yourself without any sort of stigma, any sort of discrimination, because this is the reality, it should be. And I think in the future we are going towards that. And the same also the Parliament passed a resolution in 2021 saying the same thing. Basically, we want to be sure that there is no stigma, no discrimination at all in the European Union. But of course, for us, it's important to do it all over the world because it's important to share your experience. In some cases, it's more difficult than others. But the point on education is absolutely essential. I think it's a crucial element. It's a very good point, I think. We have the Pride Month, and so we're trying to have different experiences, different events. There is usually a march in Hanoi. But you rightly said it's not just cities. Of course, it's the rural areas where it's a bit more difficult maybe. You need more time, more efforts. And I think it's important to give everybody the opportunity, and so just to share this information. I think through Facebook, through the internet, of course, it's a bit easier than it used to be because, you can get information also in the rural area. So in a way now everybody's connected with their phones, and so even in the rural areas can know more also about these things. So if you think it just one generation ago was completely impossible for them. So now it's much easier. So I think, as I said before, I think it's a process, but it's important also for people like you just coming out and say, well, this is completely normal. What are you talking about? At the end, it should become like that. I really believe that at the end it's like, well, what do you want? It's my choice, who cares? Yeah. I like strawberries, you like candies, whatever, and I have my own sexual orientation. What's the problem? It's
You just need to be, respect each other, and then you have to accept that we are all different. We're not different, and we don't need to have a set of rules and standards and things that we should and shouldn't do, what we should wear, how we behave to our assigned gender at birth or something like that. It took years for a queer person to accept that about themselves.
Sure.
So I understand that it's hard for straight people to do that if they, living their life for years without actually acknowledging that there's a whole different community next to them, living beside them, working with them, loving, sharing with them.
Yeah, because you used to live in this binary world, one or the other, that's it, so nothing in between. So how can it be? But in reality, as you said, there are a lot of different realities. And I think soon we are going to have a short quiz that's also about different flags, because of course we know all this rainbow, but there are a few others which maybe not everybody knows. And I think later on we'll have a look at that because it's interesting, and as you said, it shows different nuances of the realities which are quite important. Yeah, let's do that. I think it's a good time. I think maybe we have a look at that. Okay, we are ready. So let's try. So I think this is very easy, no?
Yeah, the easy one.
Yes.
The rainbow flag.
Okay, then I think this one, we think this is transgender, right? Yeah.
So this is the asexual pride flag.
Yeah, good.
I have this one, the lesbian pride flag.
And this one,
the
I think is a bisexual, right?
Finally, I passed the gay test. We all passed the gay test. We passed the test.
So today we learned a lot about the LGBT community. One important thing I think is the fact that It has to be an alliance. Many people have to share this. It's not only part of the LGBT community, but everybody, because after all, it's about everybody. And we believe a lot in inclusion, in diversity. United in diversity is the motto of the European Union, and so we have to accept diversity, which is so enriching for all of us. I think this is a very important topic. We're very happy that we had this opportunity. And don't forget to send us your questions so we can try to answer to some of them. And remember that find your identity is a very important part of your life. Thank you so much. Think about it.